Rachel Dolezal on the Real. Okay, so I love the ladies of the Real. I agree with everything that they had to say, but I'm not gonna lie. Some of what Rachel Dolezal had to say as well made sense. And yes, her answers were very much like a politician in that she didn't give a single direct answer. But I get it. I understand her position. And one quick note that I wanted to hit upon right quick is how she came out as bisexual. She did. And she did it toward the end of the interview. So the ladies were like, we don't have time to go into that, sweetie, but we'll talk about it another time. Like, never. Or somebody said, so it's my understanding you're pregnant. And she's like, yes. And Lonnie was like, so the baby gonna be black, ain't he? Ah, 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 ah. And, ha, ha, ha. As a laugh line. What she said is she was like, well, men, I like white, I like black, I like men, I like women, I love them all. She was, she was like, K Michelle. They say I love my son, but I love them all. I love them all. I love them all. Anyway, so I thought it was interesting that Rachel Dolezal came out and the ladies of the Real were just like, and some of what Rachel Dolezal had to say made sense. I mean, I get it to the extent that she was like, race is a state of how you feel. And then what Tamar said, and I love me some Tamar for that, because she was like, oh, she said, it's all about how you walk. And Tamar was like, so are you saying that you walk like a black woman? And she paused for a second, she was like, yes. And the whole audience, because the Real audience keeps it real, they were like, oh no, she's down. Like they're going crazy on Homegirl. But she was like, yes, I do have the walk of a black woman. And Tamar was like, but they made some really good points. One, again, Rachel Dolezal made a good point in that she's like, race is like a state of how you feel, which it's not a state of how you feel. But what I feel about race is not a real thing. And I'll use this video to go into that a little bit. I agree with Bill Nye the Science Guy and Harry Kondabolu in that race is not a real thing. It's just a made up thing because it varies from country to country. Like what is one race in one country is another race in another country. It's just a made up thing to just section people off. That's it. Just to divide people. But there are people who do think that race is a real thing and act like race is a real thing. So I'm not saying that to say race is not a real thing and it doesn't affect anybody anyway. It does because there are people who do believe it's a real thing. But just like Bill Nye the Science Guy said, he's like, there's literally physiologically absolutely no difference between the races except maybe the pigment, well, not maybe, but except a little bit of pigment in the skin. That is it. That is it. Other than that, brain's the same, organs are the same, everything else is exactly the same. The only difference is pigment in the skin. So I also agree. Well, I also feel like race is not a real thing. But as for what Rachel Dolezal said, I also agree with what Lonnie Love said, and this goes back to the other side, that there are people who do believe race is a real thing, so you can't just play around with it, because she was like, I can't do what you're doing. I can't say, you know what? I feel like a white woman. I'm going to be white, because it's not going to happen. Just like with me, I can't be like, I feel like a white man. I'm going to say that I'm white. I've made my point about race not being a real thing. I've made my point about people treating race like it is a real thing. And I've made the point about understanding where Rachel Dolezal is coming from and that she's like, it's a state of mind. And race, the concept of race is a state of mind. But I also agree with Lonnie Love and the other ladies of The Real in that Race might be a state of mind to you, but that doesn't mean that it's a state of mind to other people. There are people who believe that race is a real thing, even though it's absolutely not. So that's my point on that. What do y'all think, YouTube? Peace. Be blessed.